we're going to continue where we left off in Phenomenon Serendipity, and this is the origins. So, where was I? Yes. I created this character who discovered she had a twin sister, but then she realizes something, and then she goes against the Soul Society, and she kind of has flirtatious moments with Shuhei and Izu. I know. Anime crushes. That's what it really did to my brain. And also, I came up with these other tricky ideas that kind of remind me of Sly Cooper a bit. So I was like, okay, this is getting a little bit too sexy. So I was like, okay. I kind of liked it, but at the same time, I was like, I'm getting nowhere with this. Finally, I had like this other idea. I had Bleach and I had Naruto and One Piece, but then I was really missing a lot of animes. I mean, I just couldn't do a crossover with just 3. So in my desperation, I decided to add Toriko. But then I realized it wasn't really my type of anime eventually. Sorry. So anyways, I had to cut that out, and also because, well, One Piece already had a crossover with Toriko. Anyway, moving on. So anyways, I was really feeling really stressed, and there was no inspiration, and I was getting nowhere with these results. So I was like, okay, what do I do now? And I bet you guys remember the story about how I got into Fairy Tail. You'll find that out because I had an old video of that, and that was like 2013. No, 2011 or I can't remember. It's okay, I'll find it eventually. Anyway, so I got into Fairy Tail. I managed to do a little bit more research and watched a few episodes, and I thought, okay, this is king. It definitely had the elements of One Piece with a hint of Naruto, as people were comparing Fairy Tail to Naruto. Jeez. So, I added that, and I decided to add Soul Eater, but then I found out, I heard rumors that Soul Eater was ending, and I was like, oh great. And it finally did, so I decided to cut Soul Eater out, because I was like, you know what, so much for that. I was really focused on animes that were still ongoing, so I was kind of like, I really need some ongoing animes that can really help. I'm not talking about anime franchises, I'm talking about animes and mangas that are still going on, like still continuing in this day and age. I was tempting to use other animes, but I figured out some animes weren't even dubbed yet, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna scrap this. Then finally, I found an anime called Gintama, and I decided to add that after I became fascinated with the other character, Shinsengumi. Oh man, even though they're pretty much comical, but still, I think those guys are really badass. And they're almost like Squad 11, almost. Almost. Not completely. Almost. Then finally, Fairy Tail had my utmost attention. I was into Lamia Scale, and then Blue Pegasus, and then in my life, Sabretooth. Now that Sabretooth is the guild that I'm obsessed about. And that's in my other video called Sabretooth Curse. But anyways, let's move on. Where is it? Aha, yes. So, anyway, I was struggling to find more animes, and I'm researching and looking, and I got nowhere. So I was like, ugh, I was so stressed, I was so angry, and I regret taking out my anger on other people. It was so bad. So yeah, but I never stopped looking up, and I wasn't going to stop until my dream was going to come true. And I'm not saying they contacted me yet, but I was really dreaming and hoping. I was really excited to maybe try my best. So, just when I was about to give up and just before I was about to have a breakdown, all of a sudden, and I think it was in 2012 to 2013, that's when I discovered this coolest anime of all time known as K. Don't ask me how, but I suddenly fell in love with it. I love the characters, and I was really into the whole um, Humra versus Skeptor 4. It was really interesting, but also I love the humor. I love the storyline. I thought it was really great, and the voice acting by Viz Media was so awesome. So I'm like, okay, I'm adding this anime to my crossover. But then I heard they had a movie coming out, so I'm like, oh, thank God. Thank you. And it finally did came out.